Good, everyone. Thank you for being here. Today, I want to talk to you about something that has the power to completely reshape your life, not in 10 years, not even in 1 year, but in just 6 months. Yes, 6 months can change your life if you are intentional, focused, and committed to a clear success plan. Let's begin with the truth. Most people overestimate what they can do in a day, but underestimate what they can achieve in half a year. 6 months is not a lifetime, but it's long enough to build momentum, learn new skills, and create real, measurable transformation. So how do we do it? How do we build a 6-month success plan that works? Everything begins with vision. Before any transformation can happen, whether in your health, your finances, your career, or your personal life, you must first see clearly where you are going. Without vision, we drift. We get caught up in the distractions of the day, pulled in 100 different directions, reacting to life instead of creating it. Clarity of vision is the foundation of any 6-month success plan because it gives you a destination. If you don't know where you want to be 6 months from now, how can you create a path to get there? How will you know which opportunities to say yes to and which ones to walk away from? Clarity is not just about deciding what you want, it's about getting specific and emotionally connected to your future. Imagine standing at the base of a mountain. You know you want to climb to the top, but you can't just start walking and hope you'll make it. You need to see where the peak is. You need a map. You need markers along the way. The clearer the image of the peak, the easier it is to plan your route. This is exactly how goals work. Saying, I want to get healthier is vague. It doesn't inspire clear action. But saying, I want to lose 20 pounds, lower my blood pressure, and be able to run 5 kilometers without stopping by November 30th, now that is a clear target. You can build a plan around that. It has measurable outcomes. You know when you've achieved it, and you can track your progress along the way. The process of gaining clarity starts with asking yourself deep, sometimes uncomfortable questions. What do I really want? Not what society expects from me. Not what other people think I should do. Not what I used to want 10 years ago. What do I want now, in this moment of my life? What would make me feel proud, fulfilled, alive? This level of honesty is essential. If you skip it and chase someone else's version of success, you might reach your goal but still feel empty. When your vision comes from within, when it's aligned with your values, your passions, your truth, it has power. It pulls you forward, even when things get tough. Once you've started to identify what you want, the next step is to make the vision vivid. Write it down. Don't just think about it. Thinking is good, but writing is where transformation starts. There's something powerful about putting words to your future. It's an act of intention. It's a way of saying to yourself and to the universe, this is what I'm committed to. Write in detail. Describe your life 6 months from now as if it has already happened. Where are you living? How do you feel when you wake up in the morning? What kind of work are you doing? How do your relationships feel? What habits are part of your daily life? Get as specific and sensory as possible. The more you can see it, the more real it becomes. This exercise isn't just motivational, it's neurological. Your brain begins to form new patterns and connections when you repeatedly focus on a clear, emotionally charged vision. Over time, your subconscious mind starts aligning your thoughts, behaviors, and decisions with that future. You begin to filter the world differently. Opportunities that were invisible before suddenly stand out. You're not just drifting anymore, you're moving with purpose. But clarity doesn't mean perfection. You don't need to know every detail. You don't need to predict every obstacle. Your vision should be clear enough to inspire action, but flexible enough to grow with you. Sometimes the path will change. Sometimes you'll discover a deeper goal hidden underneath your original one. That's okay. The key is to start with something strong and meaningful enough to get you moving. And don't underestimate the emotional side of clarity. It's not just about the facts of what you want, it's about why it matters to you. Why does this goal light you up? What does it represent for you? Freedom, confidence, stability, legacy. These emotional drivers are the fuel that will keep you going when discipline is hard and motivation fades. You have to feel your future before you can build it. Another common mistake people make is setting goals based on fear or scarcity. For example, I want to earn more money because I'm tired of being broke. That might seem like a strong goal, but it's rooted in what you want to escape, not what you want to create. A better version would be, I want to earn $10,000 a month doing work I love so I can provide for my family and have the freedom to travel. That's a positive, empowering vision. It's based on purpose, not panic. As you craft your vision, be honest about what success looks like for you, not what looks good on social media, not what your peers are chasing, not what your parents want. If your version of success is working part-time and spending more time in nature, own that. If it's building $1 million brand, own that too. Success is personal. When your vision is true to who you are, you're far more likely to follow through. Once your vision is clear, revisit it often. Read it daily if you can. Visualize it in the morning before you start your day. Put it on your phone lock screen, your bathroom mirror, or your journal. Keep it in front of you. Remind yourself what you're working toward. This daily repetition keeps your mind focused. It protects you from distraction. It helps you say no to things that don't align. It keeps your decisions consistent with your desired outcome. And remember, clarity is not just for dreamers, it's for doers. The clearer you are, the easier it is to take action. You waste less time, you reduce decision fatigue. You stop second-guessing yourself. Every day becomes a step toward your goal instead of just another day lost to autopilot. So if you're serious about transforming your life in 6 months, don't start with tactics. Don't start with apps or hacks or schedules. Start by deciding what you truly want. See it clearly, feel it deeply, write it down, make it real in your mind first. Because once you have clarity of vision, everything else, planning, action, discipline, accountability, becomes infinitely easier. And that's how transformation begins. Not with chance, but with clear intention. Once your vision is clear, the next step is to translate that vision into action, consistent, structured, and achievable action. This is where most people fall short. They dream big, set ambitious goals, and get inspired, but they fail to create a roadmap. The gap between where they are and where they want to be feels overwhelming. That's because big goals without a strategy can paralyze you. You end up staring at the peak of the mountain instead of climbing it. The solution is to break your goal down into small, manageable steps. Steps you can take every day and every week that slowly but surely build toward the larger outcome. Think of your 6-month goal like a puzzle. You can't just throw all the pieces on the table and expect them to come together. You need to start with the edges, create a framework, then fill it in piece by piece. Breaking your goal into a sequence of actions gives your mind structure. It reduces stress, it creates momentum. When something feels doable, you're more likely to begin, and beginning is often the hardest part. Let's say your 6-month goal is to launch your own online business. At first, that might feel massive. Where do you even begin? You might think you need a website, products, marketing, branding, legal structure, and more. It's easy to get overwhelmed. But if you break that goal down into monthly themes, suddenly it becomes more digestible. Maybe month 1 is focused only on market research and choosing your niche. Month 2 is about product development. Month 3 is building your website and online presence. Month 4 is testing your offering with a small group. Month 5 is refining based on feedback. Month 6 is your full launch. Each month has a mission. Now you're not just chasing a goal, you're executing a plan. Then you go a step further and break each month into weeks. For example, in month 1, week 1 could be dedicated to researching successful competitors. Week 2 might be about identifying your unique value proposition. Week 3 could focus on writing down your business concept and core offer. Week 4 could be validating that idea by surveying potential customers. Suddenly, the vague idea of start a business becomes a series of specific focused tasks. And finally, you break it down to the daily level. What are 3 things you can do today that move the needle even slightly? Maybe it's sending 1 email, reading 1 chapter, making 1 phone call, writing 1 page. These daily steps are the true building blocks of success. They may not look glamorous, but they are powerful. Brick by brick, you build your future. This principle applies to any area of life. Want to lose weight in 6 months? Break the goal into monthly fitness and nutrition targets. 1 month could focus on establishing a consistent gym habit. Another month could be dedicated to improving your sleep. Another to refining your meal planning. Each small success feeds into the bigger transformation. The beauty of breaking things down is that it shifts your mindset from outcome focused to process focused. Instead of obsessing over the end result and feeling frustrated when it doesn't come quickly, you start to fall in love with the process. You begin to enjoy the challenge of showing up every day, doing the work, and trusting that the results will come, and they do. Because success is not one giant leap, it's 1,000 small steps taken consistently. Another benefit of this method is that it helps you avoid burnout. If you try to do everything at once, you'll quickly run out of energy and motivation. But when you pace yourself, when you focus on one thing at a time, you stay steady, you stay balanced, you make progress without burning out. It's not about doing more, it's about doing what matters consistently. Creating these actionable steps also allows you to measure your progress more effectively. If your goal is broken down into weekly or daily tasks, you can check in at the end of each week and ask, did I do what I said I'd do? If not, why? What got in the way? What can I adjust? This creates a feedback loop. You're not just mindlessly grinding, you're learning, adapting, improving. Progress becomes a living process. Of course, it's important to stay flexible. Life will throw curveballs. Some tasks will take longer than expected. You'll face setbacks, distractions, maybe even a few discouraging days. That's normal. The key is to treat your plan like a living document, not something rigid, but something adaptable. If a week doesn't go as planned, adjust your timeline. Don't abandon the goal, just refine the process. And here's something many people miss. Your plan should reflect your current reality, not your fantasy. If you only have 1 hour a day to work on your goal, don't create a plan that demands 4. Be honest about your time, your energy, and your capacity. That honesty allows you to build a plan that's sustainable. A mediocre plan executed consistently is far more effective than a perfect plan you abandon after 2 weeks. There's also value in scheduling your steps. Don't just write a to-do list. Put it in your calendar. If you say, I'll work on my goal this week, it's easy to delay or forget. But if you say, on Tuesday at 6 p.m., I will spend 30 minutes writing, that's a commitment. You've given it time and space. You've prioritized it. Time blocking your actions turns intentions into reality. One of the most powerful things you can do is to set non-negotiables. These are small daily or weekly actions that you commit to no matter what. For example, a writer might commit to writing 300 words a day. A business owner might commit to contacting 1 potential client every weekday. A person on a health journey might commit to walking 30 minutes daily. These non-negotiables become habits, and habits become identity. You're no longer someone who wants to achieve something, you're someone who does. And don't forget to build in small wins. Milestones matter. They keep you motivated. When you break a big goal into small steps, each step completed becomes a victory. Celebrate those wins. Use them to build confidence. Progress is addictive when you recognize and reward it. Most importantly, remember that taking action, even imperfect action, is the key. You don't need to have it all figured out to begin. Just start. Start small. Start where you are. But start. Don't wait for the perfect plan or the perfect moment. Those rarely come. What you need is a bias toward action. Clarity gives you direction, but action gives you momentum. Once you start moving, the path becomes clearer. Confidence grows, and each step builds on the one before it. In the end, your dream becomes reality, not by luck, not by inspiration alone, but by breaking it down and doing the work. Step by step, day by day, the 6-month transformation happens not all at once, but in the daily commitment to show up, to follow through, and to keep going, even when it's hard. Your future is built in the small moments, the invisible choices, and the quiet discipline of sticking to your plan. And when you break your goal into actionable steps, you take control of that future, one intentional step at a time. When people talk about success, they often talk about passion, inspiration, and motivation. They picture that surge of energy when you first set a goal, the excitement of beginning something new. But motivation is a spark. It's not the engine. It may get you started, but it won't carry you through the hard days, the setbacks, the boredom, or the moments of doubt. That's where discipline comes in. Discipline is what shows up when motivation doesn't. Discipline is what builds consistency, and consistency is the secret weapon behind every long-term transformation. The truth is, no one feels motivated all the time. Even the most successful people in the world, athletes, entrepreneurs, artists, don't wake up every day feeling like doing the work. They feel tired, they feel distracted, they feel lazy sometimes. But the difference is, they do it anyway. They've built the habit of following through regardless of how they feel in the moment. That's discipline. It's not glamorous, it's not loud, but it's reliable. And in the context of a 6-month transformation, discipline is your most powerful tool. Discipline starts with a decision. It's the quiet agreement you make with yourself that says, I will do what I said I would do, even when I don't feel like it. And that's not always easy. We live in a world that trains us to chase comfort. Our brains are wired to seek ease and avoid discomfort. That's why scrolling on your phone feels easier than going for a run. Watching Netflix feels easier than working on your business plan. Sleeping in feels easier than journaling, meditating, or showing up at the gym. But comfort never leads to growth. Only discipline does. When you commit to discipline, you're choosing growth over ease. You're choosing to act based on your long-term goals, not your short-term moods. That choice, repeated daily, reshapes your life. It reshapes your identity. The more you follow through, the more you begin to see yourself as someone who does hard things. And that belief changes everything. Discipline doesn't have to mean grinding yourself into exhaustion. It doesn't mean hustle 24/7. It means setting a realistic, consistent structure and honoring it. If your goal is to write a book in 6 months, you don't need to write 10 pages a day. But maybe you write 500 words every morning before work. That's discipline. If your goal is to improve your fitness, you don't need to spend 2 hours in the gym. Maybe you commit to 30 minutes of movement 5 days a week. The key is to be consistent enough that it becomes part of your rhythm, like brushing your teeth or making coffee. It helps to design your life to support discipline. Willpower alone is a fragile resource. You only have so much of it in a day. So build systems, prepare your environment, set yourself up to win. If you want to eat healthier, clean your pantry of junk food, meal prep on Sundays. Make the right choice the easy choice. If you want to wake up early, go to bed on time, set your alarm across the room, and prepare your clothes the night before. Discipline becomes easier when your surroundings align with your goals. Another powerful way to strengthen discipline is to track your habits. When you check off a habit every day, you build a visual record of your consistency. It feels good to see your streak grow. It motivates you not to break the chain. It creates accountability. Even a simple calendar or habit tracking app can make a difference. You don't want to ruin your progress once you see how far you've come. That's the psychology of momentum. It pulls you forward. One of the most misunderstood parts of discipline is that it actually creates freedom. At first, it may feel restrictive. A routine can feel rigid. But over time, discipline gives you control over your time, your energy, and your results. When you're disciplined with your finances, you gain financial freedom. When you're disciplined with your health, you gain more energy and vitality. When you're disciplined with your goals, you build the life you want instead of settling for whatever life throws at you. That's not limiting, that's liberating. Discipline also builds self-trust. Every time you follow through on a promise to yourself, your confidence grows. You begin to trust your own word. That trust is priceless. Most people don't fail because they're incapable. They fail because they've broken their own promises too many times. They've told themselves, I'll start tomorrow, or just this once, so often that they no longer believe in their ability to change. But discipline is how you rebuild that trust, one small promise at a time. And yes, you will slip. You will miss a workout. You will have a bad day. You might even backslide for a week. But discipline is not perfection, it's persistence. The question is not, will I mess up? The question is, how quickly will I get back on track? Discipline says, even if I stumble, I will not quit. Even if I fall, I will get back up and keep going. That's where rituals come in. Rituals are small, repeatable actions that help you stay grounded. They signal to your mind, this is what we do now. Maybe it's journaling every morning to reset your focus. Maybe it's reviewing your goals every Sunday night. Maybe it's a short walk after dinner to reflect on your day. These rituals create rhythm, and rhythm creates stability. Stability keeps you consistent. Another key to discipline is learning how to manage your emotions, especially your resistance. You will face internal resistance. You will feel fear, procrastination, frustration, boredom, but those feelings don't mean stop. They're just signals that you're moving outside your comfort zone. Discipline teaches you to act anyway. It teaches you to say, yes, I feel tired, but I'll do this one task anyway. Or yes, I'm not in the mood, but I made a commitment. That mindset over time becomes your new normal. You don't need to overhaul your life overnight. Start with 1 or 2 daily disciplines. Choose actions that align with your most important goals. Show up for them every day for the next 30 days. No excuses. Let it be non-negotiable. It could be writing, it could be reading, it could be walking, whatever it is, treat it like a sacred appointment with your future self, because that's exactly what it is. And when it gets hard, and it will remember your why. Why did you start this journey? What does success mean to you? Who else benefits when you follow through? Let that fuel your discipline. Let that be the reminder that your goals are bigger than your moods. In the end, the life you want is not created by one burst of motivation. It's not the result of one great idea or one lucky break. It's built by showing up day after day, doing the work, even when you don't feel like it. Especially then, that's discipline. And that's how transformation happens. Not suddenly, but steadily. When working toward any long-term goal, especially one with a 6-month timeline, tracking your progress and reflecting regularly is absolutely essential. It's not just about measuring results, it's about learning, adjusting, and staying engaged with your own journey. Without regular check-ins, it's easy to lose focus. You can be doing a lot but achieving very little if your actions aren't aligned. On the other hand, consistent tracking and weekly reflection give you insight, clarity, and control. They allow you to move intentionally rather than aimlessly. Progress tracking turns your vague ambitions into something tangible. It converts effort into evidence. When you write down what you did, how you felt, and what results you noticed, you create a visible record of your growth. That's powerful, especially when you're feeling stuck or discouraged. You can look back and see just how far you've come. Maybe the changes have been slow. Maybe they aren't always visible in the mirror or in your bank account or your career yet, but you'll see them in your notes, your habits, your resilience. That record becomes motivation. Weekly reflection is the companion to progress tracking. It's the space where you pause, step back from the day-to-day hustle, and ask yourself the big questions. What's working? What's not? Where did I stay true to my plan? Where did I fall short and why? What lessons can I take from this week into the next? This isn't about guilt or shame. It's about awareness. You can't improve what you don't understand. Self-reflection gives you that understanding. Start by choosing how you'll track. For some, a physical journal works best. For others, a spreadsheet or digital app is easier. The tool doesn't matter as much as your consistency with it. Set a time, same day, same hour, each week, to sit down and review. Treat it like a meeting with your future self. Light a candle, pour a coffee, go for a walk, sit in silence, whatever helps you slow down and think clearly. The goal is presence, not perfection. When you reflect, break the week into categories. You might look at your health, your productivity, your emotional well-being, your habits, and your goal-specific tasks. In each area, ask, what did I intend to do? What did I actually do? What obstacles came up? How did I handle them? What am I proud of? What can I improve? This process helps you catch patterns. Maybe you always lose focus by Thursday. Maybe you do great with workouts, but struggle with nutrition. Maybe you avoid difficult tasks and stick with the easy ones. These insights are gold. They help you identify what's holding you back, not in a vague general way, but specifically. And once you see those patterns, you can begin to change them. Tracking also keeps you honest. When we rely on memory alone, we tend to exaggerate or forget. We remember the good moments and gloss over the slips. But numbers, check marks, or written notes keep us grounded. Did you actually write 5 days this week? Or does it just feel like you did? Did you stick to your budget? Or did a few impulse buys sneak in? Data doesn't lie. It's not emotional. And when used with compassion, it becomes a powerful ally. Beyond accountability, tracking builds momentum. Every time you check off a completed habit, you get a small psychological win. These wins accumulate. You start to crave them. That craving keeps you going. One successful week turns into 2, then 3, and soon you've built a streak. Momentum is like compound interest. It starts slow, but the longer you keep it going, the more powerful it becomes. There's another layer to weekly reflection that's often overlooked: celebrating progress. Too many people are always looking ahead to what's next, to what they haven't done yet. But that's a recipe for burnout. When you pause each week and recognize what you've achieved, no matter how small, you fuel your internal fire. You remind yourself that effort matters. You give yourself credit, which builds self-worth. That positivity becomes the emotional fuel that sustains your discipline. Sometimes your progress won't be linear. Some weeks you might feel like you're going backward. You may get sick, overwhelmed, discouraged. Your energy might dip. That's normal. Reflection helps you normalize those fluctuations. You learn to zoom out. You see the big picture. One rough week doesn't cancel out your entire journey. In fact, those are often the weeks you learn the most about yourself, how you respond under pressure, how you recover, and how you stay grounded. Reflection also helps you reconnect with your why. 6 months is long enough for your original motivation to fade. You might forget what drove you to start in the first place. But when you build in weekly time to remember your reasons, your purpose, your vision, your values, you reignite that initial fire. You remember who you want to become. And when your why is strong enough, the how gets easier. Over time, your weekly reflection becomes a tool for refinement. Maybe your goal evolves. Maybe your strategy needs a shift. Maybe you realize you were chasing a result that no longer aligns with your true priorities. Without reflection, you might waste weeks or months chasing the wrong thing. With it, you stay agile. You adjust with intention. You course correct before the gap becomes a gulf. It's important to reflect with kindness. This isn't about harsh self-criticism. You're not a machine. Life is unpredictable. You're allowed to stumble. You're allowed to rest. What matters is that you keep showing up. Reflection is an act of self-respect, not self-judgment. It says, I care enough about my growth to pay attention. One helpful technique is to ask 3 simple questions at the end of each week. What went well? What didn't? What will I do differently next week? These 3 prompts can reveal more than a long list of metrics. They bring awareness, honesty, and focus. They keep your journey alive, human, and personal. As your 6-month plan unfolds, your reflections will become a story, one you write week by week. You'll see the chapters of your effort, the moments of doubt, the unexpected wins. And when you reach your goal, or even if you don't, you'll be able to look back and say, I grew, I learned, I changed. That story will be yours, and no one can take it from you. Ultimately, tracking progress and reflecting weekly is about staying in the driver's seat. It's about living with intention rather than drifting through your days. It's about treating your growth like something that matters, because it does. The time will pass either way. The question is, will you let it pass unnoticed, or will you use it, examine it, and learn from it? Reflection is where transformation becomes visible. It's where your scattered days become a coherent journey. It's where discipline meets insight, and where insight becomes power. Make it a habit, and you'll not only reach your 6-month goal, you'll become someone who's capable of reaching any goal, anytime. Most people want change, but few are truly ready for what it demands. Real transformation is not a feel-good journey, it's a test. And at the heart of that test is discomfort. Discomfort isn't a sign that something's wrong, it's a sign that something is working. Growth and comfort cannot coexist. You must learn to not only tolerate discomfort, but to embrace it. It's not your enemy, it's your greatest ally. The sooner you understand this, the sooner your 6-month transformation becomes possible. The truth is, your current habits, thoughts, and patterns brought you to where you are. If you want something different, you'll have to do something different. That difference, the gap between where you are and where you want to be, is uncomfortable by nature. You'll be stepping into uncertainty. You'll be asked to stretch yourself in ways you haven't before. You'll be challenged to let go of convenience, safety, and old identities that no longer serve you. That process isn't easy, but it is necessary. Discomfort shows up in many forms. It could be physical, the burn of a tough workout, the hunger of clean eating, the exhaustion of waking up early. It could be mental, facing fears, breaking addictions, staying focused when distractions tempt you. It could be emotional, having difficult conversations, confronting painful truths, feeling lost, frustrated, or doubtful. But in every case, discomfort is the doorway. It's the friction that makes change real. The only way to move forward is to go through it. What holds most people back isn't failure, it's avoidance. They try something new, feel uncomfortable, and interpret that discomfort as a sign to stop. They think this doesn't feel right, this is too hard, or maybe I'm just not cut out for this. But discomfort isn't a stop sign, it's a green light. It's telling you you're outside your comfort zone. You're in the territory where growth lives. If you can reframe that discomfort as progress, not pain, everything changes. There's a moment in every meaningful journey where you'll want to quit. Maybe more than one. It might be the second week, when the novelty wears off and the grind sets in. It might be after a setback, when the scale doesn't move, or a plan falls apart. It might be when life gets messy, sickness, stress, family emergencies. These moments are pivotal. They're not interruptions of the journey. They are the journey. Who you become in those moments defines your transformation more than any goal achieved. And that's where adaptability comes in. It's not enough to push through discomfort. You also need to learn how to pivot. Life won't follow your plan. Your routines will get disrupted. Your energy will fluctuate. Your environment will change. Rigidity leads to frustration. But adaptability, flexibility without losing direction is what keeps you moving forward. It's saying, I can't do my full workout today, but I'll walk for 20 minutes. Or my routine got thrown off this week, but I'll start again tomorrow. It's the ability to keep showing up imperfectly, but consistently. Adaptability doesn't mean giving up your goals. It means finding new ways to pursue them. It's the mindset that says, I don't break when the plan breaks, I bend. I adjust, I stay in the game. That resilience becomes a superpower. You're no longer at the mercy of conditions. You become someone who can function and even thrive when things aren't ideal. And since life is rarely ideal, that skill is everything. Too many people set goals based on perfect conditions. They think I'll work out every morning at 6 a.m. without considering travel, kids, or days when they're exhausted. They think I'll follow this exact diet without planning for events, cravings, or low energy days. So when the plan falls apart, they fall apart too. But if you build adaptability into your approach, if you give yourself options and learn to adjust on the fly, you create something sustainable. You stop starting over. You keep moving even when things get messy. Another form of discomfort is emotional vulnerability. When you commit to change, you often face emotions you've buried. Maybe it's the fear of failure. Maybe it's the guilt of past choices. Maybe it's the anxiety of stepping into a version of yourself you don't fully recognize yet. These emotions are not signs of weakness. They're part of the process. Let them come up. Feel them. Talk about them. Write them down. Use them. The emotions you avoid are the ones that control you. But when you face them, they lose their power. Part of embracing discomfort is accepting that you don't have all the answers. You will feel lost at times. You will question your choices. That's okay. Growth doesn't come from certainty. It comes from curiosity and humility. Be willing to learn. Ask for help. Try new strategies. Read books. Listen to people who've done what you're trying to do. The more you learn, the more tools you gain. And with more tools, you can better adapt. This 6-month plan isn't just about achieving a result. It's about becoming someone stronger, wiser, more resilient, someone who doesn't crumble under stress, someone who doesn't give up after a bad day, someone who can face adversity with calm determination. That version of you isn't built in the easy moments. It's forged in the uncomfortable ones. Every time you choose discomfort over comfort, every time you take the hard path instead of the easy escape, you take another step toward that future version of yourself. And here's the thing, the more you embrace discomfort, the less power it has over you. You realize it's not unbearable. You realize it's temporary. That hunger fades, that soreness eases, that awkward conversation passes, that fear shrinks. Over time, what once scared you becomes normal. What once felt impossible becomes routine. You expand your capacity. You build calluses, not just on your hands or body, but on your mind and heart. You become tougher, not harder, but stronger. Eventually, you may even begin to seek out discomfort. You'll crave challenges. You'll look for edges to push, not because you enjoy suffering, but because you know what's on the other side: confidence, freedom, growth. You stop fearing discomfort and you start respecting it. That's when transformation becomes unstoppable. So if you're in the middle of discomfort right now, if your muscles are sore, your schedule is tight, your motivation is faded, remember this is the path. You're not off track, you're not broken, you're in the exact place where real change begins. Breathe, keep going, adapt as needed, and know that every uncomfortable step is shaping you into someone who can handle more, do more, be more. This 6-month journey won't be defined by how perfect you were. It will be defined by how willing you were to keep going, especially when it was hard. Embrace discomfort, welcome adaptability, and trust that everything you want is waiting on the other side of resistance. The most underrated but powerful force behind any transformation is consistency. It doesn't get much hype because it's not flashy. It's not the intense workout, the big leap of faith, or the dramatic before and after photo. It's the daily grind, the small repetitive actions that stack up over time. It's showing up on the days when motivation is gone and the results still feel far away. And it's continuing even when no one's watching, when you feel tired, when nothing seems to be changing yet. That is the heartbeat of real change. Consistency is what turns 6 months into something life-altering. When people start a transformation plan, especially one with a fixed timeline, like 6 months, they often come in with excitement. That first wave of energy feels unstoppable, but eventually every journey hits the wall, whether it's after 2 weeks or 2 months. That wall might look like fatigue, boredom, self-doubt, or just the sheer weight of everyday life. The people who succeed are not necessarily the strongest, the smartest, or the most talented. They're the ones who keep going. They show up anyway. They learn how to be consistent, not just when it's convenient, but especially when it's not. Consistency doesn't mean doing everything perfectly every single day. That's not realistic and it's not sustainable. What it means is not quitting. It means making the next best decision even after a setback. It means bouncing back quickly rather than giving up entirely. It means holding the vision of where you want to go even when the path gets foggy. The key is to build a rhythm that you can return to no matter what life throws at you. That rhythm becomes your anchor. It's important to understand that progress is rarely visible in the moment. You might be doing all the right things, eating clean, exercising, staying focused, managing your time, but the scale doesn't move, the business doesn't grow, the energy doesn't spike. It's tempting to think your efforts aren't working, but they are. Invisible progress is still progress. Seeds take time to grow. What you're doing today is preparing the ground, laying the roots. The results come later. They always do, but only if you stay long enough to see them. People often sabotage their own success because they expect instant gratification. We live in a culture that glorifies fast results and viral wins. But transformation is slow. It's subtle. It's the way your mindset shifts after a hard week. The way your endurance builds one workout at a time. The way you begin to trust yourself after keeping promises you used to break. Those changes are internal before they ever show on the outside, and they require patience. The thing is, quitting doesn't actually take the pain away. It only resets the clock. You've probably experienced that already, starting and stopping again and again. Each time you quit, you not only lose progress, but you also weaken your belief in yourself. The real power comes from sticking with something long enough to break through. It's like pushing a boulder up a hill. For weeks or months, it barely moves. Then suddenly the momentum shifts and it starts rolling. But that release only happens because you didn't stop pushing. To build consistency, structure is your ally. Set routines that are simple and repeatable. Start small. Don't try to overhaul your life overnight. Focus on a few core habits: waking up early, moving your body, journaling, planning your day. The simpler your system, the more likely you are to stick with it. And when life inevitably throws you off course, don't abandon the mission. Just reset. Get back to your routine. Even if you fall off track for a day, a week, or longer, it doesn't mean you failed. What matters is how quickly you return. It also helps to surround yourself with support. Consistency doesn't mean doing it all alone. Find people who share your values, your vision, or your goals. Let them remind you of your strength when you forget. Accountability creates momentum. It keeps you honest. Even if it's just one person who checks in, that connection can make the difference between giving up and going forward. And if you don't have anyone in your immediate circle, be your own accountability partner. Write letters to your future self. Track your wins. Set visual reminders. Remind yourself why you started. One of the greatest enemies of consistency is perfectionism. You might think, if I can't do it exactly right, I won't do it at all. But that mindset kills progress. Done is better than perfect. A 20-minute workout is better than none. A healthy meal is better than spiraling into junk food all day. A rough journal entry is better than bottling up your thoughts. Give yourself permission to be imperfect. The people who succeed aren't those who never mess up. They're the ones who keep moving despite the mess. Another enemy is comparison. When you're focused on your journey, it's easy to get distracted by someone else's progress. Maybe someone else is losing weight faster, growing faster, reaching milestones quicker. That noise can be discouraging. But you have to remember, your pace is your power. What's sustainable for them might not be sustainable for you. And what's right for you might look totally different. Stay in your lane. The only person you're racing is the past version of yourself. If you're better today than you were 6 weeks ago, you're winning. Sometimes you'll wake up and feel like giving up. You'll feel like the effort isn't worth it. Those are the days that matter the most. Those are the days when you need to hold the line. Go through the motions if you must. Do the minimum, just don't break the streak. The discipline of showing up when you don't feel like it will shape your identity more than any burst of inspiration. Over time, you stop being someone who tries. You become someone who does. It's also important to pause and reflect, not just on how far you have to go, but on how far you've come. Celebrate your consistency. Mark your milestones. Track your habits. Acknowledge the small victories. That positive reinforcement fuels the journey. It reminds you that you're capable, that you're not the same person you were when you started, and that the path you're on is changing you, even if you can't always see it yet. 6 months may seem like a long time, or maybe it seems short. Either way, it will pass. The question is, what will you have to show for it when it does? A few weeks of effort and a lot of excuses, or a steady, committed march towards something better? Don't wait for the perfect time. Don't wait for motivation. Don't wait for clarity. Start where you are with what you have and keep going. One day at a time, one rep at a time, one page at a time. In the end, staying consistent and refusing to give up is what separates those who dream from those who achieve. Talent helps, planning helps, but consistency wins every single time. So take a deep breath, recommit, and keep moving forward. You're building something that will last.